Welcome to Ray Kingdom Sports, and we are here to discuss episode 2 of Tom Brady's Man in the Arena docu-series that is airing on ESPN Plus. Now, I must say that I'm thoroughly enjoying this series so far. I kind of like the aspect of the way they're doing it. They're focusing on Tom Brady's career, but they kind of pick a couple guys from the season or that time period to kind of give their thoughts and their perspective of this time period, because it's kind of cool because it's about Tom Brady, it's about his greatness, but you also it shows the appreciation that Tom Brady had for these other guys. So it's very, very interesting and it's a great aspect of this to see all these other guys in there, because without them, football is a team game, there wouldn't be a Tom Brady. Well, yeah, these are just my notes, my thoughts from the thing, and they're not perfect. It's just kind of like a casual thing. But the first point that kind of got me thinking was the Lawyer Malloy release seemed to throw the team by surprise. Like, a lot of those guys really, really thought that when they signed Rodney Harrison, they were to the point where they were just going to be the best secondary in football, and it was going to be Malloy and Harrison in the secondary, and they were just going to dominate the league because the Patriots defense was already good. You add a guy like Rodney Harrison, who's physical, aggressive, hard-nosed football to that football team, and you have a recipe for an even more dominant defense than what Bill Belichick is known to bring out there. But when they cut and released Lawyer Malloy, that seemed to throw the team completely by surprise, because they're like, well, shoot, that's a guy that they loved, that was there for them, that was on that defense all the time, for a few years, I think, at that point, if not his whole career up to that point. And they loved the guy. And just to see, how upset everybody was to see him released. Now, credit to the Patriots, Bill Belichick would be like, it's a football decision. We got to move on as quickly as they can. And he's really good at getting his guys like that. I mean, it did take them after week 1, where they got blown out by the Bills in Drew Bledsoe's and Malloy's comeback game against the Patriots, but still, to see a release like that really affect guys, it's kind of cool to see in a sport where these guys make a lot of money, and their goal is to win, but some guys, their goal is simply to make money, which, again, it's not that wrong, because if you're good at your craft and you're able to make money off of it, do it. But to see how much it affected them is really, really, I don't want to say cool, but it kind of shows the cool side of football, where these guys really like each other. They also mentioned that the year after their first Super Bowl win against the Rams, they ended up having a fairly bad season for their standards, going 9-7, kind of like a Super Bowl hangover kind of thing. What happens? The Chiefs, I wouldn't say, are in it right now, because they've been to the AFC Championship 3 years in a row, and two Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Brady went to multiple Super Bowls, so a Super Bowl hangover, I think, is a thing, but it just truly depends on who the coach is and who the guys are. You can say it's a thing, but it's really, really hard to say that it affects everybody the same. And I know I use the Chiefs a lot on this channel, but they're my favorite team, so if I can point out an example, I'll do it. So yeah, they talked about having a really rough season the year after the Super Bowl. Coming into week 1 against the Bills, they were looking to steady that ship, look right. But coming off a 9-7 season and them getting blown out 31-0 in a revenge game, like I said, with Malloy and Bledsoe, that's not a good look when you have the media on ESPN, guys, even if it wasn't hot take after hot take back then, guys still giving their takes on things. And they're like, when you have Tom Jackson saying players that hate their coach, I'm sure that got people buzzing. I'm sure that, made people back in the day be like, that it cannot be true. I mean, you can understand, releasing Malloy, signing Harrison, a guy from the outside, then losing after going 9-7. You can see, how that would stack up. But Bill Belichick was really, really good at rallying his guys. That loss was huge for them, for the Patriots, but it was also big for the guys Malloy and Bledsoe, because they were able to get revenge on their former team. I'm sure that felt great for them. But all of that led to the Patriots making the Super Bowl that year. Now, in the middle of that season, they had an epic game against Peyton Manning and the Colts. I don't know if that was the first time they played, but it was early on in their careers when they first started playing. It was obviously a lot of fun. Just, we didn't know it back then, but Brady, Manning, those two clashed so many times over their careers. It's just I guess you could say their careers are intertwined. And then like the Patriots winning that game in week 13 that season probably helped them the most in their season again and their advancement to the Super Bowl, because they, playing in the playoffs in the RCA Dome with Peyton Manning, that may have been a bit of a struggle for the Patriots at that time. So them getting that win, helping them get home field advantage, all that really seemed to help the Patriots, obviously get home field advantage and then help them, with their playoff run. But then before they could even get to the playoffs, they had to face the Bills in week 17, I think it still was at the time, and they reversed the score completely. They beat the Bills 31-0, and at that point the Patriots had full on steam. They were hot going into the Super Bowl, the playoffs, and then ultimately into the Super Bowl against the Panthers. Which this is going to be, again, hot take here. Warning. Brady, I know they give a lot of crap to Tom Brady because it's always like, oh, it's his kickers that helped him, which is true. But I don't think it's all kickers. I really don't. Adam Vinatieri, probably one of the greatest kickers of all time. Justin Tucker, right up there. But you also have to I feel like when people talk about Tom Brady and his career, they only focus on the parts where the final play of those Super Bowls. I don't think they focus on the actual stuff that led up to that moment, because if you look at Tom Brady, he helped win that Super Bowl with a TD drive against the Panthers in that Super Bowl to take the 29-22 lead to begin with. And it was his defense that this time couldn't make the big stop. Everybody focuses on the point where he was lucky because of the kickoff out of bounds, which I don't think is fair, because we wouldn't have even gotten to that point in this game if it wasn't for Tom Brady making that pass to Vrabel to take the 29-22 lead. So this argument that Tom Brady is always carried by his kickers, always carried by his defense, he led them to the lead 29-22. His defense gave up the lead. The game was tied. So what, the kicker got lucky. He would not have been there if it wasn't for that drive, the pass to Vrabel to take the lead to begin with. So I don't think that's a really fair argument against Tom Brady in his career, because yeah, a lot of these games he's won off of last second kicks. But again, not fair whatsoever. Yeah, he only had to go theoretically 20 yards to even get into field goal range. Fine, I get that. I understand that. But you can't blame another team being terrible. You can't blame the fact that he took advantage of that. And you also can't ignore the fact that he led his team to a game-leading drive, and his defense gave up a TD to tie the game, and he had to do something to get Vinatieri into. I'm just saying, I know the kicker won it, and I understand some people don't like kickers, but you don't realize how important kickers are until you have a good one. And they have a good one. So those are just my thoughts on that episode. I'm kind of hitting the hard beats. Obviously they focus on the lawyer Malloy release. Obviously that was huge. Rodney Harrison gave a lot of input into that game, or that episode, and his presence obviously helped the Patriots a lot during that Super Bowl run and winning against the Panthers. So that like I said earlier, that aspect of having the other his teammates come in, talk about his career, like with it. It's almost kind of like the Michael Jordan documentary. It's like the only thing comparable to where it's obviously about Michael Jordan, but they also focus on other aspects of the reason why Tom Brady's career shaped into what it was, other aspects that could have helped Tom Brady's career, other aspects of a season that changed an outcome. So I kind of can appreciate, we know it's about Tom Brady, but at the same time, you got to give credit to the other guys, even if Tom Brady, in some people's eyes, is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. So those are just my thoughts on episode 2, Man in the Arena, Tom Brady documentary on ESPN Plus. I highly recommend watching it. I can't do it justice with everything I'm saying, because these are just my thoughts, the things that I find interesting as I'm watching it. So you guys may have completely different thoughts. You may completely disagree with my take on Tom Brady. I could understand that, because I'm a Chiefs fan and I'm saying that. But like I say a million times, I'm a Chiefs fan first, but when it doesn't involve the Chiefs, I am a football fan. I really and truly am. I just hope that they include Spygate and Deflategate in one of these episodes, because that would be so much fun to watch. It would be a lot of fun to hear everybody's take on it, and then to hear Belichick probably later on down the line deny all of it. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Man in the Arena episode 2. Give me your thoughts down below of what you thought of the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.